Yeah, it's okay to slow down. That's one big thing that I took massive breaks in brewing and brewing schedule, and my priority has always been the family first, the kids first. If there's anything that, and this happens all the time, is I'll plan a brew day and something happens where I could get sick, or hey, a random breakdancing class comes up when my kids breakdances,
Awesome.
and or a soccer game got postponed, and they have to do it now. Like I drop everything, even if it means like I'm about to fire up the jets,
Hmm.
or a yeast pack is going to expire, something like that. I just stop and say like this is not as important as these type of things. And I've taken breaks of during COVID. I think the longest break I took was, I think I said, around 6 months to a
Hmm.
year, around there. And even now, my brewing has slowed down significantly, so that when I am able to brew, what I like about it is when I know I'm going to be able to brew, I feel really, really dialed in because it becomes so much more of a special process. And that's the thing about home
Hmm.
brewing is one of the things that kept me going is like it feels like magic. Like you're adding
Hmm.
a vial of yeast, and I know the science behind it, but it still feels so magical when you're just adding a packet of yeast and like you're nurturing this thing that you've been spent 4 or 5 hours laboring over after
Hmm.
before adding the yeast, and then it comes out somewhere 2 weeks to 3 4 months later, and it's this really cool beverage that's very nuanced and delicious and has all these different flavors that developed and still continues to develop as you're
Yeah.
drinking it out, slowly drinking it out of the keg, and as you're giving it to people. And that's one of the things is like I really cherish about it. And
Hmm.
being able to get that time to do that is really special. At the end of the day, it's peanuts compared to the kids and the family.
Yeah, exactly. But I have the same love. Like, I can see in your face that you love this hobby. Like I love the process of making the beer, right? I love like firing it up, crushing my own grains, getting over. I love the smells. I love the different hop smells that just fill up the garage and transferring it and all that. It's like the whole process. I love so much. Like I've talked to someone else in a previous podcast. Like I don't have much of a problem pouring off 2 or 3 pints, throwing the rest away, and just brew another batch.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't
it,
bother
it
me
is
then.
it is really fun, and it's like what I heard you talking about is like it's so evocative of like all these core memories I have of like being out in the backyard in like 95-degree heat with like incredibly high humidity where I'm dripping everywhere, but I have something going, and the smells that you get when you open it up, uh, when you're still doing it in a carboy, which I was up until about 4 years ago, seeing the yeast working and how much movement is actually taking place in the
Yeah.
fermentation vessel is that's one thing that really I don't like. I love my stainless. I have a stainless fermenter now, and I love it. But that's one thing that I always want to peak, and I have, because I want to. I like seeing the yeast work. I like
Hmm.
seeing the magic happening. And so that's one of the harder parts about moving to stainless. But it's such a fun process. It's so
Hmm.
cool to see what you can do and what you can make. And I don't come from like a massive cooking background. I come from like just tinkering and exploring hobbies and stuff like that. And this is just one of the ones that randomly stuck, is doing this, and I plan on continuing to do it as long as I can, and as long as my system holds up, or unless I need to pivot to something else.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I have a very basic just brew in a bag. I just have one burner. I just like when I was looking at all the different not styles, the different ways to make beer. When I come across brew in a bag, like this is for me. I know how to make tea. Is basically that's all I'm doing. I'm steeping the grains, and I just love it. My beer turns out fairly okay. I'm not as decorated in medals as you are. I've won one competition, which I was pretty stoked. So I only brewed for I think about a year and a half at that point.
That's
And then
awesome. What
uh,
style of beer did you enter?
I did a stout.
Oh, nice.
I never made a stout. My first stout I ever made. So I think what my secret ingredient was is I actually like threw like a handful of oats into it. I didn't really measure it. It was just a handful. I felt like, well, maybe I'd give it just a little more body to it, So I just threw that in there. And the person that I beat in my homebrew club, I won by 2 points. And I felt kind of bad because he bragged like how good his was. It's like the best porter he ever made because it was a stout porter competition, and he's been brewing for over like a decade. I'm like going, okay, cool. If I'm gonna lose to somebody, I'd rather lose to him because he's been doing it for so long, and then to beat him. And I was like, oh man, fucking bad. I was excited at the same time though too. So
That is really exciting, and you shouldn't feel bad. You made a
yeah,
great beer. That's awesome.
yeah, it was a good time.